What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. Hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I'm here today to do the answers to my Q&A session. Got a lot of very interesting questions to answer, got a lot of great feedback and support from you guys, and I'm going to go through this as quickly as I humanly possibly can, so bear with me here. If I do a lot of looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone because I have a lot of the questions screen capped, and I want to read them in the order in which they were received. There may be a little bit of a twist near the end and questions switched around, so I hope you guys don't mind that. But yeah, on with the Q&A. Counterbeat, my buddy Patrick asks, metal as a genre is still pretty young, but it has seen huge jumps in extremity since its beginnings. What do you see as the next big leap forward in sonic extremity? Well, to answer your question, I believe the next big step would be more of a wider acceptance of black metal that is very raw, very unapproachable, and very abrasive. I think a band like Black Salice pulled that off last year with their album Mysteries. They're one of those mysterious sort of black metal bands that have a very raw, necro sort of approach to their sound, and I believe more people have become very aware of that sort of sound, and I think more people will begin to dive deeper into raw sort of sounds of black metal, whether or not there are new bands or older bands. I think more people will appreciate the raw style of black metal. And a band like Tetragrammaton too. They're one of those bands that play a very abrasive, unapproachable style of black metal, but that band has been receiving a ton of praise as far as last year is concerned. But to answer your question, I would think a bigger acceptance of black metal that is just raw, primal, and hateful. I love that, and I hope more people get into it and go crazy with it. So thanks for your questions, man. Eric Bauer asks, Whataburger, Burger Street, or Texadelphia, and why? I don't know the latter two, so I honestly wouldn't have a fair answer to give you as far as that sort of stuff is concerned. But I will say this, though. One of the best things about going to a metal show is the idea of looking for the nearest Whataburger that's open 24 hours and just going there to just grab a good munch and just have a good time and just chill. Because that's one of my favorite things to do with certain people with going to metal shows, is just finding the nearest Whataburger, going inside, just getting a couple of burgers, some onion rings and a shake, and just chill. That's just a really good feeling to have when you're going out to shows, especially locally here. So if you've ever had Whataburger, if you're ever in the South, go nuts. Go have Whataburger. It really does feel like great comfort food. So thanks for your question, Eric. Punfun Hooby Da Hooby asks, I like that username a lot. What's your favorite band currently? Well, if you mean like right now, this very minute, I would have to say Nightbringer. I've been listening to a fuck ton of Nightbringer lately, especially since listening to that Achilles album from last year. That band really enforced my love and appreciation for older Nightbringer releases, especially some of the early demo stuff and their debut Death in the Black Work. I really do love Death in the Black Work a lot more than I ever did before, so I would have to say Nightbringer, and they are one of the best US black metal bands going today. You also asked favorite album of all time. This one, Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. This is my favorite album of all time. Favorite death metal album of all time. Favorite metal album of all time, period. Flat. This was the album that got me into metal. Listening to the first opening riffs of Hammer Smashed Face just feels so damn amazing. I owe being a metal fan to this album in particular here. It is such a wonderful, wonderful album, and it still means something to me to this very day. And favorite genre? Death metal. Death metal is the one metal genre that makes me happy more than anything else in this world. Give me death metal or nothing at all. So thanks for your questions, man. Sombrerozilla asks, if you could change anything about the attitude of metal fans, what would it be? Well, there's quite a lot of things, probably too many to list in this video, but if I had to honestly think of one thing that could change, that would be the sense of entitlement that certain metal fans have when it comes to buying physical copies of music. Of course, I understand in the case of not being able to afford something, we've all been there, we've all done that, but you gotta understand that if you buy something from a band, you're really gonna help them go a long way in regards to what will be the next step for them. If you buy something from a label, you're helping them manufacture and finance something for their next release. You're helping make CDs and records get made. You're helping tours happen. You're helping bands get to wherever they need to go. I mean, I honestly don't know how certain distros or mail orders or clothing companies handle business when it comes to dealing with bands, but if a band makes them enough money to tour nationally, internationally, because of album sales, it really does make that much of a big difference, and I commend any fan that goes out of their way to help out bands to get along to the next step in their path. So fans need to be more appreciative of buying something, or helping get a band somewhere closer to their next destination. So thanks for your question. Ben NG asks, you've interacted with a lot of individuals involved in the underground black metal scene. Is there such a thing as a true cult lifestyle? Have you ever encountered anyone that adheres to the no fun mantra that Euronymous preached? Well, a lot of that sort of true cult behavior is mostly exhibited online, from what I can see. I think sometimes people just put on a front just to make themselves feel important and feel special. I know people who are legitimately like that and are not putting on a front or an act. And of course, the no fun, no mosh, no core, no scene, any of that stuff. I totally get why some people feel that way. It's their way of life. It's their mindset. You can either agree with it or disagree with it, but you just gotta let things be. Things are the way that they are. In that sort of due process, I've had great conversations with people who maintain that sort of idea and style. And of course, you mentioned the lifestyle aspect sort of things. I've said this many times before, and I will say it again. I am a lifer. I am a lifer in this metal underground. I support metal to the day that I die. This is with me forever. The way that I dress, the way that I speak, the way that I am, the way that I represent the genres that I like and listen to, it's something you got to carry with you. Of course, be who you are in the real world, but when it comes to the metal world, be proud. Be as supportive as you can be. Show it. Say it. Do it. Feel it. Be it. There's just a lot of things to think about and wonder when you get acquainted with metal and how things are in those sort of in those sort of scenes. Agree to disagree if you want to with certain people, but it is what it is. You have to roll with the punches. So thanks for your questions. Hugh Morgan 74 asks, will 2016 be a slow year for boxing? Not too many fights on the cards at the moment. Thurman, Khan, Fury, and Broner could all do with getting some TV time, but no massive fights planned. For my sake, I hope not. I talk with Hugh a lot about this. We're both into professional boxing. I like to watch a lot of Showbox, The New Generation. I was a big fan of ESPN Friday Night Fights when that came on. That's not around anymore. It's just basically, what do you call it? It's basically Premier Boxing Champions now. And I think that show could do a little bit better when it comes to how they do the live boxing stuff. I would much rather pay attention to less flashy sort of aspects of boxing, more emphasis on fights, less emphasis on glamour and clown tomfoolery or anything like that. You mentioned Tyson Fury, him putting on that stupid shtick with Deontay Wilder on that fight last night on Saturday night. It was just so stupid. More interested in the fights, less interested in the theatrics. I honestly want to see what happens with Gennady Golovkin in 2016. That guy is a monster and probably the best dude pound for pound in my opinion. Far better than any sort of idiots that claim to hold that sort of crown, in my opinion. But that's how I feel. Thanks for your questions, Hugh. Asgarth asks, what do you do for your full-time gig? Assuming you mean what do I do for a living. I work for a movie theater restaurant, Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. We show first-run movies, plus we also serve food, burgers, pizza, desserts, beer, and wine. It's a really fascinating concept, and I'm glad that it's taken off on a more national front over the last couple of years. I really enjoy working there, and it's really a life-changing sort of experience for me. You're so well-spoken, not just for someone in metal, but just generally speaking. Do you have a history of writing reviews like on a blog, or was YouTube your first outlet of expression for reviews? Well, first off, thank you very much for those words. I appreciate that. YouTube was the first exposure for me to talk about anything. I never had any sort of experience in writing or doing blog reviews or any sort of thing like that. It just came naturally. I did a video talking about my favorite albums of 2010, and then from then on there, the rest was history. And I've done some blog stuff in the past. I mean, I used to do written reviews for the website American Aftermath. Of course, that website is no longer in existence. Rest in peace, American Aftermath. But those were some good times. Who knows, one day I could see myself getting back into that, but I feel more comfortable here. I would rather there be a face and a voice to express something. There's more visual expressions doing these kinds of videos as opposed to doing written reviews or whatever, but that's how I feel about it. And totally not a review request, but do you see your channel being as open to reviewing industrial and noise projects in 2016 as it was in 2015? I know some people like doing deep dives into whatever genre appeals most to them, but what I like most about your channel is that you seem to embrace so much within the extreme music spectrum. I find your selection in music to review to be as interesting as your reviews. I definitely don't want that stuff to go away. Just wondering if you had any other definite plans for the new year going forward, I guess. To answer your question, there will absolutely be more reviews that dive into industrial and harsh noise stuff in 2016. I welcome it and embrace it with open arms. I'm paying close attention to certain record labels that put out certain stuff like that. Sacred Bones, Crucial Blast, Malignant, Black Plague, anything in that sort of style, I'm down to talk about it, especially if it ties into metal. If it's involved in black metal, death metal, hardcore, power violence, anything like that, I'm very much looking forward to doing those kinds of reviews, and hopefully they will be more of a bigger deal in 2016 as it was for me last year. So thanks for your questions, man. Why So Cynic asks, do you ever pay attention to lyrics in metal, and do they ever affect your view on an album? No. I firmly believe a vocalist or lyric writer has every right to sing or talk about whatever they want to talk about, whether it means something or whether it doesn't, whether it's politically correct or not politically correct, offensive, not offensive, controversial, not controversial. I believe that a vocalist has a right to feel or say however they want to feel. It's just the passion that matters the most to me. If there's any sort of conviction or dedication behind the vocals and lyrics or anything like that, it'll give me more of a reason to pay attention. Just have a neutral sort of mindset when it comes to that kind of stuff. So they don't really affect me all that much. So thanks for your question. Foxy Pancakes asks, if you could travel to anywhere in the world, where would it be? Probably between Finland or Denmark. Those are two really wonderful places. Not only do they produce metal, but they have some really incredible sights and sounds. I mean, one of these days I would love to eventually see myself flying to Finland to not only get great sights and sounds, but have a couple of beers and hopefully attend a festival there, because there's a lot of great stuff that happens with metal as far as Finland goes and as far as Denmark goes. Just some really awesome people, and probably go to Denmark specifically to spend time with my Danish friends, Nicolaj and Alex, Mr. Possessed by Fire. Hopefully get in the sheets with either one of those two gentlemen. as well as where is the furthest you would travel to see a show, and what is the furthest you've ever traveled to see a particular band? Well, I'm going to combine your two questions here because I did that pretty much last year with attending Hell's Head Bash in Cleveland, Ohio. That was my first out-of-state metal show. I don't really go to out-of-state shows due to work and personal stuff, but that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me to see bands that I never thought I would ever see, like Archgoat or Satanic Warmaster or Evangelist, bands of that like. It really was a unique experience, and I would love to attend it again one of these days. I'm not going to this year's Hell's Head Bash, so I'm sorry to those of you who are asking or wondering. I'm not going this year, but we're gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can try to go for the next one. Maybe. You never know. Thanks for your questions. Epic Drumline asks, how much does album art influence your purchase and or listening to a certain album? Doesn't really affect me all that much. I'm more interested in the music and the vocals and lyrics and all that. It doesn't really affect me much. Of course, if I like an artwork, I love it, and if there's a shirt, I'll buy it. If it doesn't interest me, I just ignore it, but I still buy the CD because I want to know what the music sounds like. So there really is no, it doesn't affect me in any sort of way. Thanks for your question. Richard Owens had something cool to say. I love your attitude, man. I love you too. Corey says, thank you for your words. Rodriguez, the sadistic Mexican Saiyan, asks, best thing you love in metal music and why? The passion. I love the passion. I love the heart of extreme metal. Just the heart being put into not only the music, but the fandom, the intensity, the music, the joy of things. There's just really a lot of things to love about metal music. But for more likely than anything, it's the intensity. It's just such an invigorating feeling to have. There's way more to say than that, but it would take far long in this video, and I don't want to make this too long, so thank you for your question, man. Corey Andrew asks, what lyrics have emotionally connected with you the most? This is probably going to seem a little cliche, but when I think of albums that have meaningful lyrics or something that connects with you, it would have to be probably The Mantle by Agalloch. I've been recently getting back into listening to that album, and it's probably some of the best lyrics ever written for any sort of metal release, not just black metal or folk metal or experimental, but just lyrics in general. It's just a very beautiful album to listen to, and just something to connect with. I mean, reading the lyrics to In the Shadow of Our Pale Companion, oh man, just a total field trip with that. And I would also have to say the last couple of albums that the band The Devil's Blood put out, The Thousandfold Epicenter, and probably a couple of albums prior to that. Lyrics that just make you think. They're beautiful, they're graceful, there's a certain bit of evil in them, but yet they know how to tug at the heartstrings, if you will. So, thank you for your question. Alex Carrillo had a bunch of questions here. How old are you? I'm 30. I probably don't look 30, but I am 30, and I wear that very nicely. Do anything for a living? Answer that with the movie theater restaurant job. And lastly, all-time favorite horror film? Reanimator. Reanimator is my favorite horror film. The schlockiness, the gore, the comedy, the script, the H.P. Lovecraft inspirations. Just an incredible movie. I love that movie so damn much. I could watch it over and over again. I would say American Psycho too, but that movie seems to jump around genres, film genres, a hell of a lot, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint that. But I would say American Psycho too, but Reanimator more likely than anything. So thanks for your questions, man. James Alexander asks, alright, you excellent bastard. Most exhilarating or entertaining metal frontman woman? Lots of people to think about. E from Watain, George Fisher, Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse, Amber Valentine from Jucifer, Erica from Morgan Grau. Not really a metal vocalist, but I'm gonna throw Dylan from Full of Hell into that mix. Just an incredible frontman. So lively and entertaining to watch and see do his thing. It's just fantastic. Trying to think here. Matt Harvey from Exhumed. I always love his style, his stage presence and attitude. Frank Mullen from Suffocation. Easily one of the best. And I've been privileged to get to see him do his thing for as many years as I've been able to see him play live. It's so fucking awesome. Favorite metal demo? Necrovore. I forget the name of the demo off the top of my head, but it's one of the very first demos that Necrovore put out. Classic Texas death metal, very incredible band, great Texas death metal. What bands do you see showing promise for the coming years? Vercoe Black from Ireland. They're a great death doom band to be on the lookout for. Tetragrammaticide, Black Tongue. Trying to think here of all other bands that could have more great potential. Crypt Sermon. Pretty much any of the bands that have the rotating members between Trench Rot, Crypt Sermon, and Unrest. All those really incredible bands. Do you think that the war metal sound will continue to stay relevant through its newfound popularity, or will it stop being popular in the metal underground? Do you think genres ever really die out? Of course I do. I think war metal will definitely stay relevant in the underground, whether or not it gets any sort of exposure from metal sites or anything like that. I would prefer that the buzz and the hype stay within the underground, but if it somehow happens to get in the hands of certain metal writers or anything like that that are paying attention and want to get into it and genuinely love it, then that's cool. War metal, of course, is always going to be a sound that gets copied and pasted by a lot of bands, whether or not it's reinventing the wheel or staying tried and true. War metal is still going to be very popular, or black death metal, layman's terms, whatever the hell you want to use. Do genres ever really die out? No. I don't think they die out. They do grow stagnant. They grow stagnant and they just stay silent for a while. But then bands try to reinvigorate and reincorporate that sort of sound. Whether or not it's good is up to the listener, but you never know. Like, I know a lot of people like to harp on nu metal, but that genre is very much alive, and a lot of bands like to play that sort of style of metal, and it's not good for the most part, but still, people still try to make that much of a difference, but you never know. Any thoughts on the band Iaat? Weird, wild stuff, man. I saw your video about that band, and I looked them up, and I know that they were on Moribund Records, but they're a band that have that shock value to them. I really like that industrial aspect of their sound. They're one of those not give a fuck sort of bands. It's really crazy to know where they come from and how they handle their business, but it's really insane stuff. So thanks for that question. And if you could eat one food and drink one drink for the rest of your life, what would they be? As far as food, cinnamon apples from Chili's, and as drinks go, Dr. Pepper, Nectar of the Gods. Ask the guys in Marduk, they'll tell you. Thanks for your questions, buddy. Mollison75 asks, greetings from Australia. Are you into reading novels? If so, what's your favorite genre and a few of your favorite books? As far as novels go, I'm more of a graphic novel sort of person as opposed to like actual book sort of stuff. I do like reading stuff like Watchmen and The Killing Joke. I'm very much into the DC hardcover sort of comic, graphic novel sort of things. I mean, I used to read the Goosebumps books back in my elementary school days. I really loved R.L. Stine stuff. Gotta really be in the mood for like novel stuff. I mean, I like Brady Easton Ellis. I like Brady Easton Ellis' stuff, Laws of Attraction, the American Psycho book. Really something great to read. But as far as the book questions goes, that's the best I can answer for you. So thanks for your questions. Rowalta asks, how and when did you become a metalhead? Back when I was in choir in my high school days, we get sent into rooms to study music, and this one guy that I was in the room with, instead of the CD that we were supposed to listen to, had the booklet out for Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. and put it on. I read the booklet. I was fascinated and enthralled by it, and the rest was history. My love for metal and extreme music began as soon as I listened to the first few notes of Hammer Smash Face. And how has your music taste developed over time? My music tastes have changed big time. I mean, in a sense, I do like a lot of things. I try to have an open mind for most stuff, but more than anything, my tastes have hardened to become more into extreme styles of metal in the underground, whether it be black metal or death metal. I've really lost my interest in a lot of the more melodic sort of death metal bands, like deathcore and metalcore. I really don't care for either of those genres. It's personal preference. It has nothing to do with hate or elitism or anything like that. But I think my tastes in music have changed, albeit for the better, but you never know. I still like to give shots when I feel that they need to be given. And except for metal, are there any other genres of music you enjoy? I like some hip-hop. I like classical music. Neoclassical. I mean, we're listening to some neoclassical right now. We got... I like some old country. I like industrial. I like death industrial. I like harsh noise wall. I like Tejano. I like a lot of stuff, but I listen to it humbly here. Not saying I listen to all these musical genres to be better than anybody else. It's just how I have a different kind of music taste. So, thanks for your questions. Mr. Sabbathhead asks, how big is your collection now, and how big is your collection now? You have been doing this a while, and I'm sure you have amassed quite a lot. I've honestly stopped counting. I can't even think. I probably have upwards of maybe 200 or more plus records, 700 or 800 plus CDs, and counting, 100 to about 150 tapes. The collection is ever growing, and it will continue to grow. I'm not going to try to do any sort of full collection video, because it would take way too long, but you'll just probably see the continuation of the collection in the collection videos I do. So, yeah. What do you think of the current state of death, black, and extreme metal? I think it's doing just fine and dandy. I don't think there's anything wrong. Of course, there'll be bands that try to capitalize and get popular, but those bands don't matter. Sure, they'll be kept to our awareness, but we want to focus on what's really good. We want to focus on what's really good, and just stay true to what's going on. I think the current state of metal is just fine. As far as the underground goes, it's doing fine. As far as the well-known stuff, that's fine too, but that's something completely different. We're talking about underground stuff here. Number 3, what is your most anticipated release for 2016? The debut from Cathedalist. I cannot wait to listen to that album. I've been hyped on that band for almost 4 or 5 years now. I can't wait to hear that debut album of theirs. What was your favorite show you saw? To this day, one of my favorite shows was seeing Exhumed in the Corova Basement in 2012 when they were doing that tour with Municipal Waste and I don't know who many other bands. They had some sort of van troubles. They booked a couple of last-minute shows. They booked Exhumed to play. It felt so primal and raw being in that basement, seeing them play all the classic Exhumed songs in that sort of environment. It was so fucking badass, and I would love to see an Exhumed show in a basement again one of these days. And lastly, what got you started into wanting to make YouTube videos? Watching people like The Needle Drop and Count Blagareth, watching their videos, getting inspiration from them, to finally pick up the inspiration to pick up a camera, pick up a phone to be specific, do the videos, and then upgrade from there. So I owe a lot of my success to those guys. So yeah, thanks for your questions, man. Helvet asks, what is your favorite second wave true Norwegian black metal album? I would have to say Pure Holocaust by Immortal. That's my favorite album of theirs, bar none. I love that album so damn much. What is the worst album you have ever heard? Well, it's not really metal, but I would have to say mistakenly listening to whatever Kid Cudi put out last year. That was fucking awful. I mean, but as far as metal goes, I would have to say the last Morbid Angel record, Illud Divinum Insanus. I've learned to have a fun laugh with that album, but I still can't imagine how awful that fucking album is. What band got you into metal? Cannibal Corpse. Apart from listening to metal and making videos, do you have another hobby? I like playing video games, like fighting games, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Just being a domesticated family type of dude. Being responsible. I guess that, if you consider being responsible a hobby. What band created death metal? If it wasn't for Master's first album getting delayed, I would have said Master. But I'm going to go with the main epidemic and go with Possessed. They had that more thrashier sort of sound element in their sound, but I would say that they are the creators of death metal, aside from just Death and their first 3 albums. Yeah, I would go with Possessed. Is Merciful Fate black metal? No. To me, they're just straight up heavy metal, satanic heavy metal, but I understand why they have that first wave of black metal sort of tied to them. I completely understand and get that. Is Avenged Sevenfold metal? In the past tense, no. Excuse me. In the past tense, yeah, they were. In the present tense, not so much. And do you play any instrument? No. I don't play any instrument. I did do some singing and vocals back when I was in choir days, but I do the singing thing, but no, as far as instruments, no. Thanks for your questions. Zeus H Goat C. Who's gonna make the Super Bowl win? I don't know. I don't watch football. I don't care for that crap sport. Sorry. Thanks for your question. Wyatt X Him asks, any ideas on how I could improve my channel? Well, for one, you're doing a good thing by having a better video quality. I was not a fan of your old video quality. I did not like it at all, but you seem to have a better camera, and I like what direction your videos are going in currently, so keep it up with that. Also, learn to work on pronunciation. Just have a better understanding of how certain bands handle their business, whether or not you like it or not. Keep it up going with that, and just be humble. That's all I can really tell you, man. Thoughts on summoning? I respect their craft. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of them. I happen to like a lot of the clone bands better. Caladan Brood, Wind Deer. I like them a little more than Summoning, but I respect their place in black metal and their sort of Lord of the Rings sort of style stuff. Coffee or tea? Tea. Gold Peak Raspberry Iced Tea all day, motherfucker. Your favorite format of music? CD. I like all physical formats, but CD is the most convenient one for me. Dream lineup. I don't really have a dream lineup, to be honest with you, but as long as Alex Webster is playing bass, I could not care less. Alex Webster could do no wrong in my eyes. Thoughts on the game series Mass Effect? I've never really played the game, so I don't really have a fair, honest opinion to give you. I'm too more interested in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat games. Thoughts on Lord of the Rings? Good books, good movies, although I haven't seen the Hobbit movies yet. I really need to get on into doing that. And favorite subgenre of black metal? Raw black metal. Whatever Sargeist plays, that's the kind of style of black metal I dig the most. So thanks for your questions, Wyatt. Caveworm Metal Party asks, have you ever had to defend your musical taste against a very religious family member, or even better, a total stranger? Not at all. I've never had to have that experience, and hopefully I never will. Italian, Chinese, or Mexican food, if you had to choose, eat only one kind for the rest of your life? Mexican food, bar none. And do you think Donald Trump and Varg could become tight if they got to know each other? They probably would, but then Donald Trump would be alienated because unlike Trump, Varg he's for real. He's not faking anything. So that's all I can really say about that. Aphotic Jake, love your vids, man. Keep up the great work. My questions are, one band you used to love but now barely listen to. I used to like Flesh God Apocalypse. I loved their debut album. I loved the EP that they came out with after that. But ever since then, they've just become a bunch of corporate lackeys. They changed their sound. Not for the better. It's just horrible. I don't support those guys anymore. Most anticipated release of 2016. Once again, the Cathelis debut, Le Dernier Crépuscule. I think I said that wrong. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. And one band album you consider a guilty pleasure. Not guilty pleasure. I have no shame in my music taste. I listen to whatever the fuck I want, and I don't care if people don't like it. But to answer your question, honestly, I've been listening to a lot of Amon Tobin lately. I like Amon Tobin stuff. I like that really chill and peaceful sort of electronic sort of music, so I'm going to have to say Amon Tobin for sure. Thanks for your questions. Stuart Cassida asks, what are some black metal albums that take you on a journey through your mind whenever you listen to them? Going back to Immortal's Pure Holocaust, going into the realms that Immortal wrote on their first couple of records, especially with Pure Holocaust, it's just so adventurous. I love that sort of aspect of their sound. Elysian Blaze, Blood Geometry, that's another black metal record that's very deep and expansive, and just that takes you deep on a deep sort of journey. The last records that Gree and Niche Eternal, I forget the name of that band. It's a Canadian black metal band, but yeah, you get where I'm going here. Their last couple of records, they have that sort of touching mindset, and they make you want to dive deeper into your mind and all that sort of stuff. What are your favorite funeral doom bands? Who are your favorite funeral doom bands? Evoken, Esoteric, trying to think here, Morgion. Those are some great funeral doom bands that I get enjoyment from. I do like, I do enjoy Skepticism and Shape of Despair as well. And what is your favorite shirt design? Way too many to list, but I'll show you one quick shirt right here. I got this shirt from this band in 2013, I want to say. And yeah, this is a shirt that I love the most. It's a little bit graphic, but deal with it. Embalmer. Very, very awesome shirt. This was the very last shirt they had of this design. So fucking crazy. Over the top, schlocky and gory. And on the back it says, make them give us severed head. I love this damn shirt so much. It's just a fucking killer t-shirt, and I treasure it to this very day. So, thanks for your question, Stuart. Nathan Hardy asks, will you whip your cock out on any of your videos this year? Thanks for your question. William Sherwood asks, are you a fan of Creator? And if yes, what is your favorite album by them? I don't own a lot of Creator albums, but I do enjoy them a lot, especially their old stuff. And as far as my favorite album of theirs, I would have to say Extreme Aggression. That album is just so damn good. Betrayer is such a killer fucking song. You can't deny, you can't deny. Fuck yes. What is your favorite Suffocation album? To this very day, it will always be Effigy of the Forgotten, although Pierced from Within happens to creep in and out every now and then. All-time favorite material from them would be Despise the Sun. And what are your thoughts on the old school death metal bands Necrophobic and Messiah? As far as Necrophobic, I'm going to assume you mean this Necrophobic, the Swedish Necrophobic. The Nocturnal Silence is a masterpiece of an album. I fucking love this album so much. Everything else in between is either hit or miss. The last album that they came out with in 2013 I thought was solid. And as far as Messiah's first 3 records are untouchable, especially Extreme Cold Winter. I'm going to assume you're talking about the Swiss Messiah, because that album cover for Extreme Cold Winter is so damn memorable. I fucking love that album cover so much, but the music itself is pretty damn killer too. So I totally support and get that. Yeah, so thanks for your questions. White Veil Widows asks, what are some of your favorite riffs? Trifiction by Deicide, Festering in the Crypt by Cannibal Corpse, pretty much every single riff that was on the last Adversarial record, Death, Endless Nothing, and the Black Knife of Nihilism, Charred Remains, Autopsy, another Autopsy song, In the Grip of Winter. So many great and memorable riffs to be heard on that song. Jesu Todd by Burzum. Such memorable riffs to be heard on those songs in question. What are some albums, genres that have grown on you? Over the last couple of over the past year, industrial has been a genre that has grown on me a lot more. I wouldn't say bands in particular, but I would say the genre as a whole has grown a lot more on me, especially when it comes to death industrial and bands that incorporate death metal and black metal with industrial elements. Those of what have been getting to me a lot more and growing with me a lot more. And which bands have your favorite lyrical content? Kind of a tough call to decide, but I would say Agalok always writes good lyrics when it comes to their material. I like the lyrics that Titan Blood put into their music. Leviathan's last couple of releases have some pretty good lyrics to behold on there. Demon Sea lyrics, I enjoy that stuff. Ulcerate have some good lyrics. Dode Heimsgaard's last couple of records have some good lyrics. I really enjoy that sort of stuff. So, yeah, thanks for your questions, and I hope I answered them to the best of my ability here. We're getting down to the last two people here, and these are the two most important ones of the bunch, I would say. Brady Spencer. He's got a ton of questions here. Fucking maniac. Thoughts on blowjobs? They're wonderful when you're giving them. Do you have a gag reflex? I've been known to stick at least 3 or 4 bananas down my throat in one whole sitting, so I would say it's relatively fine. Do you enjoy having your balls played with? When you're playing with them, yes I do. Dick or vagina? Dick, duh. Do you swallow? I swallow plenty, my man. How big are you? It's not gonna fit the camera, man. That's how big I am. Have you ever been caught masturbating? And if so, when and by who? Never have, never will. Not even ghosts can catch me. I love you. Love you too, man. Thank you for your questions. And last but certainly not least, my partner in war, Kenyon Bickle. I think he had questions that top Brady's, I would say. Blowjobs, give or receive? I would have to say I enjoy receiving them, but giving is something nice and genuine too. Do you like them hairy? Not monstrously hairy, but just a little, just light. Not light, not like the hair on my arm sort of hairy, but lighter shade of hairiness. After gym taste or after shower taste? After shower taste. I like them clean. Who's girthier, Brady or I? By Brady, I'm assuming you mean Brady Spencer. You're the taller guy, so of course you're gonna be that much thicker. That's rocket science stuff right there. Man boobs or man ass? Man ass. The softer, the better. Do you put out on the first date, or are you saving yourself for Jesus? I'm a raging whore, so I have to put out easily. Describe the perfect man. Isn't that what you are, Kenyon? Describe the perfect set of balls. Not hairy, right in the middle, very soft and nice amounts of elasticity, just soft to the touch sort of feel. Like a Hell's Headbangers pressed t-shirt. That's the kind of softness I'm talking about. And emotional sex or angry boy poundings? Angry boy poundings. The harder you slap, the better. And gay weekend with Brady and I. Describe it. Detail. Lots of detail. Ask and you shall receive. Well, for one, we would go to it would definitely be taking place here in town. We would be going to Hog Wild Records, and we would spend at least an hour or two browsing through the metal section and pretty much going crazy and buying everything. We would, of course, each have to save our own separate amounts of money to be spending heavily in there, because once you go into Hog Wild Records, you want to buy as many records as you can and not forget anything. Once that's out of the way, we will be going to... We'll be getting a bite to eat at a couple of the places around the record store, because we have some good places to eat, like Main Street Pizza, Luther's Cafe. We'll go to Main Street Pizza and eat pizza there, but then we'll go to Luther's to go for the mixed drinks. We're gonna get the drunk party started early. We're gonna drink a bunch of margaritas, nothing but fruity drinks, no beers, no wines, straight out fruity margaritas, and we'll have some water to calm ourselves down. But then once our systems are calmed down, once it gets later on in the nighttime, we're going to go to the St. Mary's Strip and go bar by bar by bar and drink by drink by drink. We'll go to TBA, we'll go to Limelight, we'll swing by Hard Bodies to see if anything is any somewhat interesting in there. Maybe get you to dance up there, show off your G-string, put a little bit of a dollar bill with my teeth in there. You know where I'm going. Go to the taco truck that's right in between Limelight and Hard Bodies, get some really good quesadillas, and have some charro beans to just settle down the drunkenness just a little bit. Go to Faust, get even more drunk. Then after that, we go downtown to the Holiday Inn Riverwalk just to rent a hotel room. You, Brady, and I will be sharing a bed together, and we'll pretty much be reenacting that one scene in American Psycho where Patrick Bateman has those two chicks and is pretty much filming and doing the muscular poses and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be what we're going to do. But there's going to be Leviathan music playing in the background, preferably a Silhouette in Splinters or something off of Tentacles of Horror. Probably Tentacles of Horror, because that has a more phallic sort of album title name going for it. We'll be doing that. There'll be a lot of heavy fisting action. There'll be a lot of ass-to-ass situations. And then there's going to be a lot of mouth-hugging going on. And then to close off the set, to close off the evening for all of us, we're going to throw on Humanure by Cattle Decapitation. We're going to listen to Bukkake Tsunami, and we're just going to be giving each other the reach around, and until we all climax, until that album is finished. And then we'll just get bathed and clean ourselves off, and then we'll all have a three-way cuddle session, and that will be the most epic metal night, the most gay epic metal night of all time in the history of forever. So I hope that answered your question very well, Canyon. And he said, also, I apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. You're the man. I love you. Love you too, Brady. So, that's it. That's the answers. I hope you are satisfied with everything. I could have answered some questions a little bit better, but it is what it is. So, thank you all so much for, for these questions. I'm going to conclude this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until next time. Army out.